seem to be going really slow. So I'm getting like warning signs on my thing. No? I know, it's slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's using anything heavy on the internet. Okay. All right, hey everybody, welcome to Chiustream. Welcome to another edition of the stream. This is just a encouraging way to just stop what we're doing every once in a while and just do some drawing, just for fun, just for ourselves, not for that crappy project that you don't want to do, or that maybe that project that you've been obsessed with so much that you forgot about your own art. Every once in a while. So every Thursday at this time, 10 a.m. Eastern time and 7 a.m. Pacific time, we do the stream. And what we do here is, I'm going to do a little drawing on this card here, and one of you out there is going to win this card. With the original drawing on there. Sending some positive vibes out there into the world, and hopefully it'll make a small smile on somebody's face out there. Okay, so I see everybody just getting on here, right on. Good to see everybody, especially good to see a lot of familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. I've kind of been... Actually, we haven't traveled in a bit now, and it's probably like the longest time for a very long time.
1 month.
Oh, it's only been 1 month, Kay says. I guess we travel so much, it seems like a really long time. So, anyways, let's do a little roll call, shall we? I always like to start off like that, just so, people know you're not alone out there trying to do your thing, trying to become an awesome artist, or trying to take your already awesome career and push it even further. Right? So, if you are up and you're watching this, let me know where you're from, and I'll give you a little shout out. I see Gigi Soul Sister online, right on. I see Germany on there. Shrin is on there from Singapore, right on. Czech Republic, UK, Denmark, Belgium, Hong Kong, Singapore, Brazil, everywhere, right on. Lithuania, Philippines, Indonesia, New Jersey, Virgin Islands. Oh, right on, Virgin Islands. It is cold as heck up here in Toronto, and we've been having such a nasty winter, so I'm pretty jealous of you. Okay, so there we go. Right on. And Malaysia up in here. Great. That's fantastic. As we keep doing this, it's like the positivity that I'm getting, the feedback that I'm getting is just growing and growing, and that really helps because Philippines is there as well, because I'm busy, and those kind of encouraging comments makes me remember that this is important, to stop what I'm doing once a week and spend some time with the community out there. Alrano, I am up this time. Right on. Good job. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. I'm going to do a drawing here. At the end of the hour, I'm going to pick somebody at random that... this time we're going to make it a little simpler. Post hashtag Chiustream and the link to this broadcast on your Facebook or Twitter, and I'll pick someone to give this drawing to. Okay? If you have any questions, please post them here. bit.do/Chiustream dash or hyphen March 20th. Okay? And that will lead you to the post on the Chiustream page where you can type your questions, and then I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, that seems to be the best way so far to really have this work well. So, let's see. Just gonna go to some of my questions over here right now. And yeah, so this time it's gonna be, I'm gonna be choosing a winner from either Twitter or Facebook. So that way everybody can kind of participate. It's a little nicer. Okay. So I'm just closing some windows here, and then we're gonna get started. We're gonna start drawing. Okay, so let's start drawing here. Everybody always seems to wonder what the artist is using as a drawing tool. So I want to show you this nice pencil that I've been using, pencil pen that I've been using, that I really like. Where did we get this? Muji? Is that what it's called? Muji? Yeah, it's a pen from a store called Muji.
Japanese.
And it's pretty cool because, one side is pencil, one side is pen. But the quality is quite nice, so I like it. There's some I was going to show you guys some other gadgets that I might have here, but I don't really see anything right now. Okay, and I want to mention next weekend in Toronto, if you're in Toronto or in the Toronto area, March 29th, there's going to be a schoolism party. You could go to bit.do/schoolism party, and that'll lead you to the Facebook page there, and you can invite your friends, come along. It's going to be awesome. If you're an artist or if you like art and you want to meet other artists, this is the perfect event to just meet and talk and socialize. It's going to be a nice little group of, maybe 100, 200 people, just to hang out and chat. Some amazing artists are going to be there. There's going to be Marcello Vignali, which is one of my favorite artists. There's going to be Nathan Fowkes, another very good friend of mine, awesome individual, awesome artist. There's going to be Paulo Zane. So Paulo Zane is one of my favorite artists as well. He's worked on the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He's worked on Croods. He's worked on Prince of Egypt. He's worked on Batman Returns, from Tim Burton's Batman. So, he's been around the block and then some. And it's awesome because he has so much experience, so much experience in both live action and digital. And we're trying to make it as cheap as we can, so entry fee is $10, and it comes with a free drink and a bunch of prints that you can have signed by our wonderful guest artists that are coming. So that's going to be cool. And of course, that same weekend is the Schoolism Toronto live workshop with those individuals that I was just mentioning. So if you're up for learning as well, there's just a couple tickets left for Paulo Zane's workshop. Definitely not to be missed. He is a person that is quite busy and masterfully talented individual. Okay, so let's go to the questions here. Okay, so this comes from the Facebook page, the post that I have up here, bit.do/Chiustream/ or hyphen March 20th. Did it happen to you when you had a really great idea for an illustration that you thought the time was not right and your ability not good enough yet for finishing it? So you kept it on hold for a later time and drew it out for redoing it later as well. That's a great question. I don't do that. I will jot down ideas if I don't have the time to finish them, but generally it's never ever because of my skill level. Some ideas I do, and years later I look at them and I still like the idea, and I almost want to redo it, just do a remake of it, with what I've learned now, right? And that hasn't happened, but I guess that's the closest to answering your question there. Next question here is, how do you rank your progress? Do you do it from month to month, or do you rank it from a number of work you've done? Thanks. Natasha. Well, Natasha, or it's not Natasha, right? I don't know. Okay, anyways, I'm sorry if I goofed up your name. But that's a good question. And I think the best thing is that I write down goals that I want to achieve, during that week, during that day, or whatever, and track it like that. How many followers do you want to get by whatever date, and see if you can, accomplish that. But that's a really good one. I actually, I'm a huge advocate of lists. Okay. Wow, this is a pretty long one. This is Christelle Nicole. For artists who are practicing basic concepts of art such as anatomy, composition, and lighting, are there any exercises that you found to be helpful related to advancing in the basic areas? Okay, so anatomy, right? Anatomy, try to draw it from life, then try to draw it from your imagination, compare with anatomy books, then try to draw it from memory, then try to draw from photographs. And don't just copy. When you're drawing from life, don't just copy. Look to recreate something with the same essence of whatever it is that interested you from whatever pose there was. That is the road to becoming a great artist that can paint things out of their imagination as opposed to copying things. Of course, there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful painters that, do portraiture and things like that, where it's not as imaginative as like painting creatures and stuff, but still takes a certain amount of imagination and creativity to simplify and be creative with the things that they see in real life. So it all depends on what you want to do, okay? Really all depends on what you want to do. I'm curious to learn about a few techniques which you might suggest for us to challenge ourselves with. I think a really good one, especially for people starting off, is memory sketching. Sketching things out of your memory, right? And then trying to sketch it again a day later, things like that. That's when you start to really retain the stuff, and it becomes just ingrained into your visual library. And as artists, we need a visual library. It's like if you are a writer and you don't have any books, and you don't read any books. If we didn't have any art to look at, we'd probably draw kind of like caveman art. So, right away, the idea is to fill up your visual library. That's the first thing that you want to do. And the best way to do that is to do memory sketches, and then all sorts of variations, interpreting what you see in different ways, things like that. Jinsey Brown, one of the things I admire most about you is your ability to get to know a lot of people and build a network. Thank you, Jinsey. You're very nice. For someone trying to break into the film industry as an artist, how would you suggest starting the creation of a good network? If you have time, it would also be awesome if you could give some tips on finding a mentor. Okay, great questions here. How do you start a network? Well, this is one way. We all grow up. You know what? There's been this viral video that's been going around that's been so cute about this little tiny Korean girl, and her mom is teaching her, what do you say if a stranger comes up to you and says, "Do you want some cookies?" And she goes, "Yeah," and the mom's like, "No, you shouldn't do that." And she goes, "No," I'm sure some of you know this. And like most mothers and most parents in general, we tell the kids to don't talk to strangers, right? But then there is a point where, you're a grown person now, and it's not like you should go and talk to anybody and just talk to strangers, but there's definitely places where it is safe to talk to strangers. For example, at conventions, for example, at social gatherings, things like that. Make it a habit. Make it a habit to talk to people. There's this pretty good book for really shy people. It's called How to Work a Room. You could read it, or I'll just give you pretty much the main message, which is don't be afraid to talk to people. And let me give you a little story to put this into perspective, right? Okay, if you don't talk to people, then maybe you might not get to know that one person. That's what you're thinking, okay? But check this out, right? In the beginning, we didn't really know anybody, Kay and I, and the first person that we went up to talk to was Steven Silver. I think it was, Steven Silver. We talked to him just a bit through the internet, and he called me as well. And we had a short conversation. But through that one meeting, through us going up to him when we could, meet him in person, talk with him, that led to meeting other friends like John Navarez. That led to meeting all sorts of really good friends of ours now, Patrick Morgan and Jose Lopez and all these wonderful artists. But even more so, I was talking about a story before about how I met Doug Sneed. Doug Sneed is, he is the longest running Playboy illustrator. And by just talking with him on the airplane, I got to meet Lynn Johnson, who's one of my super artistic heroes. I've got to meet all sorts of people. Miss November 2013, had dinner with her, just by chance. And one thing leads to another, that leads to another, that leads to another. And if you are the kind of person that's willing to just take a chance and say hi, and talk with people, who knows what the possibilities will lead to. It could very, very easily surprise you, even with people that aren't related to the art field. Don't kind of count them out. Just talk with everybody. You never know. They might be related to somebody that's just somebody that you always want to meet or whatever. Who knows? It's so when I get into elevator, I generally, if somebody else gets in, I generally try to strike up a conversation just as a habit, to put me into autopilot so that I will always, be fine with striking up conversations with people I don't know. And that's how, I built my network. But then again, I'm just interested in kind of learning about people and their stories and everything. I like biographies. And the best biographies are the ones that are totally real, live, right in front of you, and them telling you their stories to you. So the second part to that was, can you give me some tips on finding a mentor? Finding a mentor, that, I think that is, it talks about social skills. You need to have good social skills, and think about things from their point of view. Okay? If you're saying, oh, I really want to learn, you can really teach me, I would really appreciate it, I just want to get better and become a great artist, well, that's all thinking from your own point of view. Think about it from the other people's point of view and entice them. Why do they want to become your mentor? Alyssa asks, what is your basis for an effective design? I think something that really pushes the story forward, really helps to support the overall story, and something that feels very special and memorable. That's kind of like the easiest way to put it. Okay, let's see. Who are your favorite artists? Asks Andy. Who are my favorite artists currently, right now? It's Marcelo Vignali, Nathan Fowkes, and Paulo Zane coming to Toronto next weekend. It's gonna be mind-blowing. There's so many favorite artists that I have that I feel like, it's hard to just name any, because I know if I do, then I should have named some others that I probably would have forgotten. Okay. I always prefer making creatures. This is from Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Prefer making creatures, characters over environments. But I do think it would add a lot to my work. Do you have any tips to effectively learn environment design? Well, environment design, best tip is to get into Nathan Fowkes' class on designing environments. I'll tell you why. Because Nathan, he doesn't just teach, students, artists, things like that. He teaches studios. He gets invited to studios to teach as well. So how do you get to those top jobs? How do you get to that top level of art? It's not the easiest way, the best chance you have is not to go to people that know how to teach you how to draw, but you go to people that know how to teach and are at the top of their game in terms of whatever it is their profession is, right? That's how you get to the top, and that's why his class is so popular, and sells out so quickly. How to get on his class, I don't know. That's a question that a lot of people ask, and I just don't know. You have to be ready, finger on the trigger. Once you get a notification saying, first you have to go to his class and make sure you're added onto his notification list, and then it's pretty much finger on the trigger. Once you get that email saying a new class is open, just click on it. Also, very curious about Schoolism London in October. Who are the speakers? Oh, this is gonna be great. Okay, nothing is fully confirmed. I want to bring Luis Gonzalez back to London to teach. It's kind of like a class, composition for storytelling, which is phenomenal. Last time he came, he did, or actually no, last time was Alex Wu came to do life drawing. Gesture drawing, excuse me. Louis and Alex, they both teach gesture drawing, but they're both story artists as well. So that's going to be such a cool class. I seen a little preview of it, and I was totally blown away. Let's see, what else is on here? Okay. I know there are many artists who have problems figuring out how much to charge for their work, myself included. For me, it's very hard to know if I should charge more or if it's according to my level. I've asked around and most try to avoid giving numbers. Do you have any tips on this? How do you calculate how much to charge? Thank you for asking this question, because when I was in school, I was taught you think about your skill level, how much you want to make, and then you times it by how many hours you think it'll take you to finish the job, and then that's your quote. So if you want to get paid, say $30 an hour, and the job will take you 40 hours, you times 30 by 40 and you charge them $1,200. But that's not the right way to, that's not the best, most effective way to do things. It isn't. This is by experience. The best way to quote people is to think about their budget. Think about their budget, and if you're not super desperate, then tack on 10% on top of that quote. If you are really desperate, then maybe subtract 10%, just so you can really nail it. Either way, you want to be somewhat within their range, right? If you're making a logo for Nike, are you going to charge the same thing that you would charge, a logo for your uncle that he's trying to start a shoe company out of his garage? No. It would be completely different. That's kind of like the proof that it's much better to think about the person's budget than it is about how much to charge according to your skill level. And that was something that I wasn't taught in school, and I really wish I was. I really hope that teachers will start to teach that in schools, because it makes sense. Just because you live in like a rural area or something where you don't maybe need to make that much money, you know what? It's not just about the money, it's about how they feel after working with you, right? If sometimes when people pay a bunch of money and you do a great job, they're quite satisfied, aren't they? And that's really the key, to create an experience for the client where they feel quite satisfied enough to call you back. Okay. I wrote a couple things down just in case I didn't get enough questions, or if I got things that were repeating too much. Some topics I want to talk about here. Okay, the first one is, just because you believe that you can, okay, just because you believe that you can achieve whatever goal it is you're trying to achieve, that doesn't mean that you're on your way to doing it. You have to actually get up and do it with full force. Lots of times I've heard people say, yeah, maybe one day I'll do conventions and, that'll be cool. And then, things will blow up, and yeah, one day.
They're just lazy.
That's not happening until you actually go out and you try to do it. So believing is one thing. It's important. But you also have to get off your butts, feel some uncomfortableness or whatever, and just grind it out and do it. And when you go after your goals, go after it with full force, not kind of casually. Some people, they say, oh yeah, I'm going to try to maybe just put together a little book, maybe go to the comic convention and show my stuff. Maybe doesn't really cut it. I don't want any of you guys to do a maybe. I want you to really think about whatever it is you want to do and then commit to it with full force, because that's the best way that you will become successful. If you're just kind of taking it in an attitude like, maybe I'll try. I'll try it a little bit. Well, think about it. The chance of you succeeding is not going to be as good. And if you don't succeed, will you try it again? No. You'll be like, yeah, I tried it. Doesn't work out well. I've heard some people talking about freelance and things like that and saying how horrible it is, how, oh, it's not a good, time and all this stuff. And then I find out, well, they've only been doing freelance for like maybe 3 or 4 years before quitting. Well, did you really, really, give it your all? Or did you try maybe only 80%? Because if it's only 80%, I would really advise you to go at 100% to really see the potentials of something like freelance. And freelance, that's just an example. It could be fine art, right? Because everything has two sides to it. Okay? Being an artist, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Oh, well, some people might be like, yeah, that's tough. That's a hard life, right? And that's their reality of what an artist is. Unless you look at somebody that's doing really well, then you might think, oh yeah, being an artist, that's great. That's a really great life. Being a musician, is that a really great life or a really poor life? Some people might say, yeah, it's super, hard and it's not a good life. But then if your, uncle was James Brown, then you might be like, being a singer is awesome, right? Or you see what I'm saying? You could look at it from the good side or you could look at it from the bad side. But if you are not trying 100%, it's almost, you have a lot bigger chance to fail, and then all of a sudden you're looking at things from the wrong side, the wrong perspective. Let's see here. The other thing that I wrote down here was that people usually don't get paid a lot for things that have rigid instructions, following a manual. When you think creatively, then it's hard to put a value on what you do. Your value goes up. If your job involves you to think creatively instead of just, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Okay, I'm done. What am I supposed to do now? Okay, I'm done. Those kind of jobs are great, whatever, but you won't be as valuable because that person that's telling you what to do can train another person and tell that person what to do. And all of a sudden, your value goes down. But if you're the type of person where people come to you and they go, what should we do? What are your ideas? Then all of a sudden, you have a lot more value. The other thing I was thinking about was, this one's interesting. It's the whole idea of if you resist the right things, you actually become more free, you become more powerful, you become more, you you become strengthened, and you're able to go further through resisting. Sometimes we need to learn to cut out some things and concentrate on what's most important, especially when you're in demand. So many of us, when we're just starting, what are we trying to do? We're trying to become in demand, right? We're trying to make a name for ourselves, and we're trying to get a little known out there and hopefully get some good demand for our services. Well, what happens when you get too much demand? And this is what I want you to be prepared for. Because if you are, going at things full strength, constantly looking around, constantly rethinking things, then I think you have a very good chance of succeeding big time. So what happens when you succeed a little bit too much? You become too much in demand. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to cut things out, and you have to learn to not take everything. Because when you don't take everything, then you can make the things that you take even better. And what's that going to do for your demand? It's going to drive it up even more. Let's go back to some questions here and see if there's any more. Okay, let's see here. I don't want to miss anything. Gigi Goodman, Yvonne Goodman asking, are you still going to interview other artists? Yes, actually I am. I have been. It's just there's a lot of different things going on, so it's coming. They're coming. I think the next one is with Steven Silver. We're going to be talking about, I talked to him about portfolios and how to make an effective portfolio, how to make your portfolio stand out, since he's seen so many portfolios and he's kind of like the king of looking at people's portfolios. I thought that was a great interview. So I think that comes out end of the month, something like that. Let's go to the next one here. Shren from the in-house workshop. Hey Shren, how's it going? We miss you. And so she writes, missing you and Kay, who's probably just next to you.
Hi.
That's right, she is. I remember you telling us about your tote bags at Comic-Con, but are there any other clever tips for setting up a booth at a con for the first time? Thank you for answering in advance. Clever tips is have something that you can give people for free, and it gives you a good excuse to engage them. It gives you a good excuse to get them over and talk to them. But the hardest part about that little plan is actually talking to them. You have to go and actually talk to them, which I'm sure you will. Shren, she's been an awesome, person and artist and everything throughout the time that she was in Toronto. So couldn't be prouder of her. And I know you're going to do great. Just keep on the path. Keep on trucking. When you're in the beginning of your career, I kind of tell people sometimes that it's kind of like a rocket ship leaving the Earth's atmosphere. You have to burn like 2/3 of your fuel just to get out of the atmosphere. Just like how you have to burn like 2/3 of your fuel to break into the industry. Okay, so you gotta get it. You gotta go hardcore. And then things will get better, and then you don't have to go as hardcore anymore, unless you want to just keep going further and further, like me. Then you just keep going. You keep going hardcore. And then it'll be very hard for anybody to even catch up. But it's not about that. You should always compete against yourself. That's the best person to compete with, not other people. I don't believe in competing with other people. Jenny asked another question, which is, do you think the ambition to be a professional is an important part of growth as an artist? Yeah. And you know what? A lot of people don't actually feel like professionals until they consciously just decide, hey, you know what? That feeling is never going to come. I am a professional right now. Just make that conscious decision. And then you'll become a professional even faster. If you have the mentality of a hobbyist, then you'll do hobbyist type of habits, right? If you're a professional that is just killing it every day, working on all sorts of craziness, Peter Jackson's asking you to get in a helicopter and scout for areas to film and stuff like that, and to create concept art inspired by whatever settings. How much do you think you draw every day? How hard do you think you're working every day? Right? When do you think you get up in the morning? How many hours do you put into your art when you know it's your profession? Things change. It's totally different than being the old hobbyist that you were originally. Okay. Mandy says, thank you for inspiration, giving me the drive to keep working at it when times get tough and I doubt myself. Mandy, thank you for typing that in. Let me tell you something, okay? You don't have a choice but to become successful. You don't have a choice but to not just become successful, but to become super successful. Whatever dream, super dream that you have, that you kind of smirk when you think about it, because it's just so kind of out of your reach and you feel like it's a little ridiculous. If you say to yourself, you know what? I have no choice but to succeed, as scary as that sounds, to accomplish my goals, all of a sudden your chances of actually accomplishing them skyrocket. So what I'm going to say to you is, you don't have a choice, Mandy. Take that comment that you put in and this response as fate, part of your life where it just clicks with you now. You've adopted it. You've become evolved and changed, and you will never doubt yourself again, because you know what? It doesn't matter if you're doubting yourself or not. There's no point in even thinking about it when you don't have a choice. You must succeed. Okay? You must. Things become so different when you change your perspective. Like when I'm working out, I don't want to work out, but I'm always working out regularly. When I'm tired, I try to imagine that zombies are chasing me. Now, do you ever want to get bit by a zombie? No. Even if you ran 10 kilometers, would you keep running if there are zombies behind you? Yes. Right? Think about it like that. Put yourself into a frame of mind that will help you to push yourself even further, while, of course, still thinking about your actual physical limitations, okay? That's why I work out, because if I just worked all the time, then I would hurt my arm again, which I did, years ago, and suffered through that for years and years. So, as intense as you can get, you still have to listen to your body. Just don't listen to your whiny brain, because a lot of times your whiny brain will say, "Oh, I don't want to work anymore. I'm tired. Can we just go and watch, whatever show, or, like play some video games, go outside. I haven't been outside in a long time. Oh, I'm sleepy." What you gotta do is you gotta smack that voice in the face. Pump yourself up and say, "Shut up, voice. Shut up, brain. I'm in control. And I got goals to achieve, things to do with my life that does not involve wasting it by doing things that are not going to, make my life better." All right, let's go to the next one here. I've heard you say that you will sometimes convert your PSD files from 8-bit to 16-bit for print. Yeah, I'm not an awesome, my knowledge of print and graphic design isn't as hardcore as many others, so I forget why that was. I think it was having to do with printing something that is of a higher quality. I think we were using Hammermill paper for those prints. I'm just going to skip over this question because I don't want to give you the wrong answer, okay? What kind of books would you recommend, especially for starving artists? Well, I wrote a book called The Perfect Bait, and it's really about everything that I learned from all these other awesome artists and really compiled all the information together along with my own kind of thoughts to create a book about how to, become a successful artist, from tips and stories from myself and all these incredible, super talented professionals that I really greatly admire. I like that book, The Alchemist. That was an awesome book, really inspiring, talking about dreams and things like that. It's fictional, but super inspiring. I think the main thing, the hardest thing about art is the mental game. Because you start off and you stink. Everybody stinks in the beginning. And you go through not just a day of stinking or a week of just doing really crappy art. You go through years of crappy art, don't you? We all do. And that's the hardest thing about art, is that mental game. As you're doing all this crap, and it's crap, it doesn't look good. Many people will fall by the wayside, and the ones that will become successful artists, the ones that will really excel, will keep going because they know it's all part of the process. It's all part of the process to develop great talent, great skills. And if anybody would like this weird little mushroom dude, all you have to do is post #Chiustream and a link to this broadcast on your Facebook or Twitter, and I'll find you and I'll pick someone at random to give this drawing to. Okay? So you have about 10 minutes left to do that. Let's see here. How do you deal with discouragement when looking at old work and not seeing any progression or even seeing regression? Dang. I'd say pick up a book. Pick up a book, take a class, go to a workshop. If you're just drawing and you aren't actively trying to learn, the person that is actively trying to learn and through the active learning is drawing all the time, that person's going to crush you, because it's much easier to improve when you're actively trying to learn than just doing and doing and doing all the time. It's not for sure that that person's going to crush you, of course, but it is very likely. If you're looking at your old stuff and you don't see any progression, that's when it's time to turn on that common sense again and go, what am I doing here? What am I doing wrong? How can I do it right? How can I change it up? And with everything that you do, think about it. Is that the best way to do whatever it is that you're doing? Is there a better way? That little habit will constantly make you excel, constantly make you evolve, and of course add more and more value to you as an artist, as a person, as a worker, as whatever. I actually like this guy. So whoever's going to get this this sketch, I'm a bit jealous because I actually really like it. But hey, that makes it even more important to give it out to someone out there in the world, right? You got to kind of always put your best foot forward. So I hope it goes to a good home. Okay, let's see here. What's something else I wanted to put on here? You know what? About common sense. It's necessary to not just be completely fearless and go after your goals with 100%. It's also very necessary for you to have common sense while you do it. Okay? You know, being fearless means not being afraid of things that you shouldn't be afraid of. That's what the effective version of fearless should be. That you're not afraid of things that you shouldn't be afraid of. But if you should be afraid of things, then it's good to be afraid of them. For example, if you're afraid of jumping off the ledge, of a cliff, that's a good thing, or else you would probably jump right off. Just like you're not afraid of paintings, the same subject matter that nobody likes except for you and your mom. That's not being the right kind of fearless. Right? That's being fearless with no common sense, which actually equals being reckless. Complete fearlessness is recklessness. I think the last thing I wanted to mention is that, the reason I do these streams is because I feel like I'm in the position now where when I talk with people, they tell me that it matters. And they tell me years later that it made a difference. And being in that position, I feel obligated to do these things. I feel like because I'm in this position, I need to try and help artists out there. I need to, try to shine some light on things that I never knew when I was just starting off. When you have a purpose, you stand by it. Something happens when you show an undying drive to achieve a goal. And my undying drive to achieve a goal, my goal is to change the art community in a positive way. To hopefully help, people, especially people that don't have all the wonderful benefits of going down the street and ending up, at some awesome artist's house or at a wonderful studio that you can visit. I feel like if I keep doing this stuff, then one day, somebody's going to come to me and say that they didn't have anything around them that helped them artistically. And it was because of these streams and because of everybody encouraging each other on these streams that person was able to succeed and now has become an amazing super artist. I know in my heart that is going to be a reality if I keep doing this long enough. And that to me is super special, because that to me makes what I'm doing, my life, so much more meaningful. Best kind of jobs is a job through serving others. Okay. So let me see if there's any other questions here. And it's about 4 minutes left, and then I have to finish this up and then give it away. So this time, now you can tweet about it as well to get a chance to win this drawing. And don't forget that we're doing this next week as well. Okay, every Thursday, unless otherwise said, every Thursday, let's meet up. If you really want to be an artist, you really are interested in these kind of conversations, then every Thursday, okay? If you keep taking the time to hang out, then I got the time to hang out with you. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here. There's actually a bunch. What things happened in the past to make you emphasize the common sense part more frequently now than in earlier days? Okay, that's a great question, Matt. The thing that happened that made me just go, oh my gosh, I need to talk about common sense, was this YouTube video that I did a long time ago. That's when it kind of started, okay? I did a YouTube video. It's talking about how I quit my job. I quit my job that was like a non-artistic job to pursue becoming a freelance artist full-time. Really went for my dreams. And then I got, I think, 2 emails. One that was worse than the other. The first one was, Bobby, I listened to your YouTube video, so I quit my job the next day. What do I do now? That one was bad, but the other one was way worse. It was very similar. Bobby, I listened to your YouTube video. Thank you very much for this. It gave me the courage to quit my job. Unfortunately, I was holding these 2 jobs so that I can pay for medication for my mom that's sick. What do I do now, Bobby? Oh my goodness, right? All of a sudden, things start to get out of hand. So automatically I was like, you know what? It's not just effort. Effort running straight into a brick wall with all your might, with all your effort, doesn't help. You have to mention common sense in there. And that's why I emphasize this so much. That's what happened. Great question. Right on. Jincy says that she's going to be talking to random people in the elevators now. Good for you. You know, you keep doing that, and it'll be so much easier when it really matters. Do you think an artist has to be concerned about changing the world through art? Is it too big to think of like this, and how? Well, not every artist has to be concerned about changing the world through art, right? I feel like it's something that I want to do. It's important to me because I feel like I have the resources to be able to do it. And having the resources to be able to do it puts even a bigger importance to actually do it for me, right? If you had the capabilities of helping people, changing people, you know, people's lives in a positive way, and it won't take that much time out of your schedule, like an hour, 2 hours a week, would you do it? You would almost feel like you would have to do it. I feel like, and I don't know if I believe in fate or anything. I believe everybody has these choices that they can make that will bring them a certain amount of success or a certain amount of misery. But I feel like reading the signs, it's kind of like this is my duty or chance, and the best kind of happiness, as cheesy as it sounds, has been through, you know, helping people and changing people's lives in a positive way. When people come back to me, you know, years from now and tell me, yeah, they talked to me, 8 years ago, and they were just a student then. They were just 18 then. Now they're 26 and they're like an art director, and now, things in their lives have been going awesome. They have family and kids and whatever, and it's just, and I had a little something to do with that. That's like the best kind of happiness there is, especially when they overcome like difficulties in their lives, challenges in their lives. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to achieve all this stuff by yourself. Sometimes we all need, people to kind of support us and be there for us and tell us, hey, we're not crazy. It's possible. Right? It's all possible. So anyhow, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for this Chiustream. I think it is time to choose somebody that I'm going to give this little mushroom creature to out there in the world. Okay? So let's see here. I'm just going to search for the hashtag Chiustream. Okay, should I announce a winner off of Twitter or Facebook?
What has more?
Well, I'm allowing everybody to use either Facebook or Twitter.
Do a coin toss.
Okay, Kay's gonna do a coin toss, and then I'm gonna
heads Facebook, tails Twitter.
Okay, heads Facebook, tails Twitter.
Tails.
I'm gonna go to tails Twitter. Somebody that tweeted out. So you need to tweet out the hashtag as well as the live stream. Okay? So let's go with Jenna Matsala. Let me write this down. Okay, so Jenna Matsala, I'm going to be looking for you to give me your mailing address, and then I'm going to send this little drawing out to you. Congratulations.
Yay!
Congratulations to Jenna out there. You just won my favorite sketch so far from these streams. I hope you will take good care of my little buddy here. And thank you to everybody that came out. You know, and if you did some drawing with me as well, even better. Even better. Okay, so remember, party in Toronto next weekend. It's going to be great. If you want to come and meet me or meet the schoolism teachers that are coming, some incredible artists coming, as well as some non-schoolism teachers, incredible artists that are coming, like Jean-Baptiste Monge. Incredible artist, super heavyweight. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so thank you everybody for showing up. Jenna, again, congratulations, and we will see you, and I'll see you next week. Okay, same time, same channel. Take care, everybody, and stay positive, keep trucking. All right, back to work for me. Take care.